Hey everyone, it is DrRic coming back with a tutorial. Haven't done one of these in a while, but I thought I'd talk about what to do in the winter time if you don't know what to do. So a lot of people that I see will usually say they can't get out in the winter time and they wait till spring and summer to get out and do their lawn activity or gardening activity, which is honorable as far as activities that keep you busy, activities that make you burn calories, what we call METs, M-E-T-S. But I don't think that, I think that, put it this way, winter can be longer if you don't do much and if there's seasonal affective disorder, if you don't see sun for a while, if there's high stress in the holiday months or deadlines. So I would always embrace changing the way you think about winter time. It just laid down the heaviest snowfall so far this season, 2018, but I couldn't wait till it stopped snowing. Not because I don't like snow, but because right after it stops snowing, I am outside, whether I'm taking pictures, setting up my drone, or just going outside. So these are some of the things I've accumulated over the course of several years, and it makes it a lot easier to adapt activities to keep activities outdoor, but adapt them to cold times. Usually you won't get to need crampons unless you're going to slippery surfaces. Around Illinois there's Starved Rock and Devil's Lake, and some of those perches where you're looking over stone and an embankment, it can be slippery as the ice and snow thaw and freeze again, so it's nice to have crampons. These I got in Arizona, just a short story, by chance, by accident. In Arizona I was graduating from my fellowship in integrative medicine, and I thought I would hallmark it with a trip to the Grand Canyon. And I just happened to stop by on one of my nights that we finished up early with studying. I stopped by a climbing store and they had these on sale because it was end of the season. And I thought, oh, I need these. I always wanted to have one of these. Never will use them, but wouldn't you know it, the day I graduated, I took off to Flagstaff and tackled the Grand Canyon, and it dumped 5 inches of snow. I'll put a video of my experience. And it was good that I had these things, but I was totally ill-equipped for that weather, or at least the weather that came in that night. So at least I didn't slip as I was going down some of the switchbacks in the Grand Canyon, all because of that. So you can also, if you do ice climbing, which I do every once in a while, it's in Starved Rock, you can actually ice climb, and this is a pickaxe. But whether you use this for climbing or say a high Colorado altitude climbing or hiking, I think they're nice to have. It's a piece of equipment that's just an extra. I don't really use it around here that often. What we use are more of these things. These hiking sticks can be very valuable, not only for throwing off your weight if you're carrying a heavy backpack, especially in wintertime. That's the only problem with winter hiking is if you go to a place like Colorado or any place with elevation, it's a lot of shipment of equipment. I mean, all this equipment will be heavy, and a lot of the airlines will charge you extra to check in stuff. Definitely can't get these cross-country skis anywhere, so it'll usually limit it, but if you wanted to enjoy a wintertime or cold weather hike, it's important to come prepared. I bought these on sale at Marshall's, and these snowshoes have come in handy many times because it helps to get outside in the wintertime. When you have about anything greater than 4 inches of snow, it makes it a little bit hard just to walk through or hike through snow, especially if you don't have the right equipment. These are Loas. These hiking boots are really well made, but they're heavy. They're insulated, but they're heavy, and about 3 to 4 pounds each, and that can be, after a couple hours, very taxing to the knees. So it takes a little bit of practice. I have other boots that I use as well, but these are one of my favorite, most comfortable. However, if you're not used to climbing, and not only are they insulated and good for post-holing, it's called, if you don't have these snowshoes, then what'll happen is you'll sink into the snow. Every footstep will be a sink, and then you'll have to pull out again and sink again, pull out again, and sink, like you're doing a post hole, like you're putting a post hole in. So if you're not built for it, you will put a lot of snow into your boots if you don't have the right equipment. Whether you use these and crampons together, or these and put your clothing over it so you don't get the snow in, it's up to you. But if you happen to be just without your snowshoes and you post hole, these are great because they keep your feet nice and toasty. Obviously, you always have to come prepared as far as fingertips and toes and facial protection, because the last thing you want is, I took a group up to Colorado once at about 11,000 feet, and one of the party didn't bring the right gloves, and consequently it got frost nipped to the fingers. It took about a week, I believe, or half a week to get rid of the numbness and tingling. And any longer in that inclement weather, and we would have had frostbite, and that would be a different outcome. But it is important to know the weather patterns that you're going into ahead of time. I like looking at the Weather Channel, and I like watching the Doppler radar coming in. You can predict a lot. At least since my experience with the Grand Canyon, I've learned to trust not just the local weather, but actually see the patterns on radar. These are nice, especially in windy snow or in wind. This will protect your eyes from freezing. It's sometimes difficult to see things. And when it is difficult to see things, you always have to be prepared for predators. Now, I've never used this, but this is tear gas. This is tear gas mostly for bears. I did have this as at least confidence when I'm on my trips alone, that if anything were to happen, I don't have to go to lethal force. But the only problem with the bear canisters, I learned this on a trip to Montana, is when I got to the top of about 10,000 feet and worked my way down, you can't use this under 32 degrees, so it freezes up. So you have to keep this somewhere close to the body or heat it up. Always nice to have. Again, the closest I ever came in contact with wildlife or predators were what I thought was wolves coming up, but it turned out to be two very, very big dogs that were by themselves, and the owners were about a mile away. But a little bit of an issue, however, it turned out to be okay. So it's always nice to, and that's the other thing, you have to be aware of your surroundings. You have to let somebody know where you're going, especially if you're going solo. And you have to have water. I didn't put my water pack, it's in here, but my water pack is huge. And it usually, I overpack water. I usually want it at the base of my backpack so that my camera equipment doesn't get wet, just in case. But if you bring the inferior types of water bottles or water containers, the chances of leaking are high. I had a video that I filmed recently at the Morton Arboretum, and the 2 gallons of water that I use for resistance, as far as getting used to 20 pounds extra when I'm going through my hikes, they leaked all over. And I had to empty out my backpack, and as somebody was coming by, they said, "Boy, you drink a lot of water." I didn't want to explain that I was just using it for weight resistance. But if you're going to bring that kind of equipment, and the gallons of water that I had were just something you refill, you really have to make sure that the top and the accessibility is easy. Putting water at the bottom of your backpack, if you have a top-loading backpack, is a pain in the ass, because you want to get a chip of water, you have to unpack everything. So sometimes compartmentalizing your water packs or having the hydration flasks that you can actually have the hose come around to the front are nice. I just haven't found anything that carries a substantial amount of water for the times that I go hiking, or the amount of time that I take with hiking. So this is about it. This is just my introduction of what I would do. In addition to, again, the clothing is very important. I do believe I have another link I'll put for other winter clothing, at least what to consider as far as layering. But you can get out and still enjoy your activities in winter weather, in cold weather, and not gain so much weight in the wintertime, and not be so unactive for winter sports. So hopefully this gives you a little bit of an idea what to do. If you have comments on what you guys do, I'd like to hear about them.